You ever send off a resume and just wonder? Like, is a real person actually looking at this, or did it just vanish into some digital black hole? Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain and see how an AI can learn to think a lot like a hiring manager. We're going to break down this big, kind of scary idea, a neural network, using a really practical example, screening job candidates.
Okay, so picture this. You're a recruiter at a huge company. Every single day, your inbox is just flooded. Hundreds, maybe thousands of resumes piling up. Trying to get through all of them? It's a monumental job. It's slow, it's draining, and let's be real, after reading the 100th one, it's pretty hard to stay consistent. It's a classic case of information overload.
So that leads to the big question, right? Can we actually teach a machine to sift through this mountain of data and spot the really promising people? Can an AI learn to tell the difference between a good candidate and a great one? Let's find out how we'd even start to tackle that. First up, the problem of resume overload. So, before we can do anything cool with AI, we have to frame the problem in a way a machine can actually understand. A resume is full of words and stories. We need to translate all that into simple numbers, something an AI can really get its teeth into.
To make this manageable, we've got to simplify things a lot. The team decides to boil every single resume down to just two key numbers, two features. The first one's easy, years of experience. The second is what we'll call a skill score. This is basically a number they get by scanning for certain keywords and qualifications. So now, every candidate is represented by just two data points. That's it. All right, now we're finding patterns in past data. We've got our simplified data for every candidate. Now what? Well, the smartest place to start is by looking at what's already happened. We have all this history, right? We know who got hired and who didn't. Let's dig in and see what that historical data can tell us.
You know, the best way to see a pattern is to, well, see it. So we're going to plot everything on a simple chart. Each little dot you see here is a person, a past candidate. The x-axis, the one going side to side, that's their years of experience. The y-axis, going up and down, that's their skills score. And the colors? The purple dots are people we hired. The yellow ones, they were rejected.
And damn, you see it almost instantly, don't you? Look at that cluster of purple dots up in the top right. It's not like a perfect, clean split or anything, but there is definitely a trend there. The people who got the job tend to have both high experience and a high skill score. This visual pattern is the clue we're going to give our AI.
So now we're teaching the AI to see the pattern. We can see this trend with our own eyes, which is great for us. But how do we get a machine to see it too? This is where the magic of the neural network happens. We're essentially just going to show it all this data, all the purple and yellow dots, and say, okay, AI, figure out the difference.
The way it does this is by creating something called a decision boundary. The best way to think about it is like an invisible fence. The AI's entire job is to figure out the absolute best place to draw that fence to separate the hire group from the reject group. And here it is. This is what our AI came up with. This is the fence it drew. And the first thing you should notice, the most important thing, is that it's not a straight line. It's a curve. The AI has basically created a hire zone, that purple area, and a reject zone in yellow.
And that curve? That's everything. Seriously. A simple straight line would be way too basic. The curve shows that the AI has learned something nuanced. It's learned that, hey, maybe if someone's skill score is off the charts, they don't need quite as many years of experience to be a great fit. It's figuring out those complex trade-offs all on its own.
Okay, next up, putting the AI to the test. So the model learned from all our old data. Great, but that's kind of like studying for a test with the answer key. The real test is how it does on brand new resumes, stuff it has never ever seen before. Let's see how it did. Okay, so this grid might look a little intimidating, but it's basically the AI's report card. It's called a confusion matrix. Let's break it down. The top left box shows us that out of all the people who were actually rejected, the AI correctly predicted reject 95 times. Awesome. Now look at the bottom right. For the people who were actually hired, it correctly predicted hire 92 times. The other two boxes, those are its mistakes, and look how small those numbers are. That is exactly what we want to see. And when you do all the math, it comes out to this, 93.5% accuracy. Think about that. Our AI, using just two simple numbers from each resume, can get it right more than 9 times out of 10. That is seriously impressive.
So, how does this AI brain actually work its magic? Let's take a quick peek under the hood. Don't worry, we'll keep it simple. It really boils down to 4 main steps. First, the input. That's our 2 numbers, experience and skill score. They go into the network. Then they hit the hidden layers. You can think of these as groups of tiny calculators all working together to weigh the inputs and find interesting patterns. Third, the output. After all that calculation, the network spits out one single number, a probability score. Basically, how likely is this person a good hire? And finally, training. This is where the AI learns. It makes a prediction, checks if it was right, and if it was wrong, it tweaks all its little internal calculators to do better next time. It just keeps doing that over and over until it gets really good. So this technology is obviously super powerful, right? But it's so important to talk about its proper place. This isn't about firing all the recruiters. It's about giving them a superpower. And this is maybe the most important takeaway. The role here is decision support, not decision replacement. The AI's job isn't to make the final call. No way. Its job is to be an incredible filter. It sorts through the giant pile and says, hey, human expert, you should probably look at these 20 resumes first. It lets the real experts focus their energy and their intuition where it really counts. The final yes or no always comes from a person. Now, with great power comes great responsibility, right? We have to put up some serious ethical guardrails. First, and this is a big one, we have to avoid biased data. If our past hiring was unfair and we feed that data to the AI, well, we're just teaching it to be biased too. We're automating unfairness. Second, we have to demand fairness checks. We need tools that can look at the AI's results and tell us if it's discriminating against any group. And third, we need transparency. We have to be able to ask the AI, hey, why did you give this candidate a low score? And get a clear answer. Otherwise, it's just a black box making life-changing decisions. So that leaves us with this really important thought. AI is amazing at learning from our decisions. We just saw it happen. But here's the kicker. What happens when it also learns our biases, our hidden, unintentional prejudices that might be buried deep in that historical data? That is the real challenge we face as we build these incredibly powerful tools.